Almost all American journalism is controlled by a few massive corporations. News Voice is a one-of-a-kind mobile app that tracks the bias and corporate interests that infuse the news stories we consume every day, and it's completely free to use. Go to newsvoice.com/Pakman to download it. You all know that I don't think Donald Trump is a good president. I don't think he's an honest person. I don't think he's competent. I believe he's way in over his head. He's the worst president I've personally lived through. But I also hope you know that when Trump or anyone does the right thing, I'm not afraid to say it. And in some small ways, Donald Trump did some good things yesterday while also doing many, many bad things during his coronavirus press conference and later on Twitter. Trump gave what for him, again, for him, was his most presidential statement and briefing on coronavirus, and maybe on anything since the start of his presidency, because Trump came out and he didn't immediately brag uncontrollably about how great his response has been. He was initially sober and, quite frankly, scared looking and saying, we need to take some serious precautions and outlining a list of those behavior changes that need to happen. He actually looked like, when I say scared, he looked like he understood the gravity of the situation. And he admitted coronavirus is not under control. New guidelines recommended by Trump yesterday: homeschool all kids, don't go to bars, don't go to restaurants, no gatherings of more than 10 people. Okay. No idea whether state governors will put those policies into action, but we have to start getting through to the Trumpists who are acting like nothing is going on, spreading the disease, going to beaches, going to concerts, and bragging about it. And that's why this matters. Trump went on to say a whole bunch of crazy stuff and lies and tweets, and I'll tell you about it. But even Trump saying this matters because this is just math, okay? His red state followers have not been taking this seriously, and they are preventing us from limiting transmission. They've been going to beaches and concerts and parties and spreading the disease. Here is Trump obviously lying about never having previously said the virus was under control, but at least he is saying, no, the virus is not under control. And apologies about the tinny audio on this clip.
Do you want to revisit that statement if we are going to be experiencing this until July or August, 5 more months ahead of right where we are now?
When I'm talking about control, I'm saying we are doing a very good job within the confines of what we're dealing with. We're doing a very good job. There's been a tremendous amount of the way they're working together. They're working hand in hand. I think they're doing really a great job. And from that standpoint, that's what I was referring to. Yes, Steve, go ahead.
You're not saying it's under control, right?
I'm not referring to it, meaning the... Yeah, if you're talking about the virus, no, that's not under control for any place in the world. I think I read. No, I didn't. I was talking about what we're doing is under control, but I'm not talking about the virus. Yes, please.
So still some deception saying I never said it was under control. That's not true. That's a lie. He said it was under control many, many times, but he's at least admitting it is not under control. Trump says the new guidelines might be necessary until July or August. That is mind-blowingly inconceivable to tens of millions of Americans. But here is Trump laying out what he sees as the worst-case scenario.
Do you have any kind of estimate that if Americans really were to band together and do what the White House is suggesting, how quickly you could turn this corner?
My favorite question. I ask it all the time. How many times, Anthony? I think I ask him that question every day, and I speak to Deborah. I speak to a lot of them. I get the opinion. So it seems to me that if we do a really good job, we'll not only hold the death down to a level that is much lower than the other way, had we not done a good job. But people are talking about July, August, something like that. So it could be right in that period of time where it washes through. Other people don't like that term, but where it washes through.
So is this the new normal until the height of the summer?
We'll see what happens, but they think August, could be July, could be longer than that. But I've asked that question many, many times. Yeah.
Now, where he did go off the rails was rating his response to the virus as a 10 out of 10.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your response to this crisis?
I'd rate it a 10. I think we've done a great job.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so that's the regular old Trump we know coming out. He also kept repeating, who could have imagined this a month ago? Nobody imagined this could happen a month ago. That's not presidential and that's not honest. We've been covering it for months and we weren't even particularly early to the game. We've all been warning for months that this is exactly the situation that could develop, and it has. And then also later in the day, Donald Trump losing all presidential political capital that he gained with the statement by tweeting about the so-called Chinese virus, saying the United States will be powerfully supporting those industries like airlines and others that are particularly affected by the Chinese virus. We will be stronger than ever before. Chinese virus, of course, completely xenophobic and discriminatory and counterproductive in every way, particularly when now China actually is not the epicenter nor the place with the most active cases, and they have it under control. Completely meaningless statement. And then again this morning, Cuomo wants all states to be treated the same, but all states aren't the same. Some are being hit hard by the Chinese virus. Some are being hit practically not at all. New York is a very big hotspot. West Virginia has thus far 0 cases. Andrew, keep politics out of it. Of course, it is very political to rebrand it the Chinese virus. This is the same racist, xenophobic, blame China, blame Chinese people stuff. And Trump clearly not able to remain a normal person or remotely presidential for more than a few minutes at the time. Yesterday confirmed that. But I will take the small win where I can get it. Trump saying, not under control. Don't go to school. Don't go to bars. Don't congregate in groups of more than 10. Don't go to restaurants. And this could last until July or August. It's something that will hopefully influence his followers. Massachusetts is basically shut down in terms of the restaurant industry, in terms of entertainment, in terms of all of that stuff. Gyms are shut down. Individual restaurants, at least as far as we know, aren't going to be bailed out like the airlines and the cruise ship industry and oil companies or anybody else. And even if this goes on until only June, the recovery time for some industries is potentially going to be years long. Many businesses are not going to return from this, and that's horrible. But we have to do what we have to do. And that's why we're taking it so seriously here.